go, Mama. Don't let go. Got it. What's up, Yoke Gang YouTube? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to cook hog stew. Hog stew? Yes, hog stew. And these are the back straps to the hogs that I harvested on my last hog hunt. I am so excited and I am ready to eat. But first things first, the meat has been washed with baking soda, vinegar, and water. That has been washed and rinsed very well, but I still need to bring it to a boil to get out as much of the impurities as possible. So that is what we will be doing first. But before we get there, let's look at what our ingredients are going to be. We have a medium-sized green pepper, medium bell pepper, red pepper, some celery, some onion. I got some extra onion here because I don't think that's going to be enough for me. I do not throw my celery tops away because I do throw them into the pressure cooker, into the pressure cooker while the meat is going, so that it can let off some extra seasoning or seasoning flavor. Some Lipton onion soup, some Goya ham flavored. This is just like bouillons, but it's just ham flavored. Some adobo, complete seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, some accent, some Lawry's. We're going to see if we're going to have some space for Lawry's once we do our taste before we move forward. Some extra spicy Mrs. Dash. This has no salt in it, so y'all don't have to freak out on me. Some bay leaves and some chicken bone broth. Swanson. Okay, so like I said, the meat has been washed in baking soda, vinegar, and water. It has been rinsed, and now we're going to boil it to get some of the impurities out. Follow me here, and we have the back straps in the water. I am going to salt it really quick just to try to maintain some of that flavor. And if you're unfamiliar with wild game, they have very little fat content. So it is important to maintain that moisture and the tenderness in the meat, because it can be very dry. So we're gonna let this go. I'm gonna pressurize it because it will be tough. I'm gonna pressurize it for about 30-35 minutes. While we're waiting on this, we'll make some rice, and I'll show you what I do next. Okay, in my rice cooker, I have 4 cups of rice, 4 cups of water, about a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to add some oil. You can use whatever kind of oil you want, vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever, it doesn't matter. And your rice, you can use whatever rice you want, but basmati rice, or just regular white long grain rice, brown rice, whatever, your choice. Okay, it should look something like that. Close her up, plug her in, and she'll let you know when she's done. Okay, so while we're waiting, again, we just have to wait 1 second. It's been about 15 minutes. So be very careful when you're moving your pressure cooker, when it's pressurized to the sink, to introduce it to some cold water to reduce the pressure. I do understand that technique, but for somebody who is not familiar, please be very careful. All right, so I'm gonna just get this over here. and you'll turn on the water. Cold water will then cause your pressurized indicator to go down and pressure is released. Okay, so this was just the washing part of it. If you can see all these impurities on the lid, we don't want any of that in our food, just as it is all around the edges of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain this out. And I am going to rewash my meat with just fresh water. Let's get those out. My meat is rinsed, my pot is clean, so I washed the pot out to make sure we got all that foam and froth out of here. Now, if you're just joining, we are cooking wild hog stew. If you have not checked out my last hog hunt, make sure that you do, because these are the sows. We're using the back straps of those two sows to make this meal, okay? All right, so I have my back straps here that have been rinsed, so they are thoroughly washed. Into my pot. Now into this pot I am going to add some chicken bone broth, just a little bit. When you're using the pressure cooker, you do not use a lot of liquid. Get my spoon. 1 second. Okay, so that's about as much liquid as you're going to need. I am going to use my washed celery heads. Remember I told you about these? For flavor, I am going to put in a handful of onions. Now I'm going to repressurize this with these seasonings in here. And then we are going to move it over to our pot where we will finish making that all happy in this separate pot. Okay, I am going to get about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. This is fresh minced garlic. I am going to add a couple of bay leaves. Let's put 3 nice sized bay leaves in here. 3 bay leaves. I'm going to season with a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder. Now this is just really to get the meat flavorful. We are going to really make the flavors pop out when we fry down our trinity, our garlic, celery, onion, and green pepper. If I'm not mistaken, that is the Holy Trinity. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Did I put in some garlic powder? Just in case I didn't. All right, garlic powder, some black pepper, some complete seasoning, I'm sorry I do not measure, guys, but you guys have an idea. Just season it to where your food tastes good. Y'all know, if y'all been in the kitchen, y'all know how to season your food. All right, and I am going to add 1 packet of the ham bouillon. And remember I told you that the wild game, whether it's deer, hog, duck, whatever it is that you have hunted, it is very, very, very lean. These animals roam. They have to scavenge for their own meals. So it's harder for them to become fat and be fattier. So we have to make sure that when we are cooking these meals, that we have a source of fat to include, and that is where I'm going to use my pork belly. This is smoked pork belly, but we are going to fry this down in our vegetables when we put our goodness that's going on in here into this pot. Okay, so take a look. Don't be alarmed with our celery heads. We are going to get that out once it is done. So I am going to cover this up. Remember, you don't need much liquid when you're using the pressure cooker. Let's make this pork belly sweat. So I am going to fry this down to get as much of the grease out of it as possible, because I will be frying my veggies in here. And give that a minute to brown. If you're just now joining, don't forget to hit that thumbs up for me. We are cooking wild hog stew. Wild hog stew. We have our backstrap in the pressure cooker with a few seasonings. If you missed that, just back it up a little bit right after the premiere, and you'll be able to follow or keep up with us at this point. All right, what this is smoked pork belly. And we are just going to fry this down. Now, why would I use more pork if I'm cooking pork? Okay, your wild hog, wild boar, whether it's a sow, whether it's a male, they are very lean. The fat content, even though it might not seem logical, but they are very, very lean animals. These animals are constantly moving, constantly looking for food. They're not like our domestic hogs to where they're just isolated into a barn that they can't move, they can't go anywhere, so all they're doing is eating and eating and eating. That's why they get so big and fat. But these hogs, they literally have to go find their food. So that's what makes them a lot more leaner than the domestic pig. But this right here is some domestic pig we have in this pot here. As you can tell, look how much fat. I mean, probably finding bacon on a wild hog is little to none. But, hey. Alright, we are going to add our onion, our red pepper. Again, this is a stew. Our green pepper. And our celery. And we're going to cook this down very nicely. It's a lot of vegetables, I know. We're looking for flavor. And those were about medium-sized vegetables as far as the red pepper, green pepper. And that's 3 stalks of the actual celery stalk was probably about that long after I cut the tops off. Alright, we're going to let this fry down nicely. It smells so nice. So nice. Okay, I got a runaway onion here. Everything's in here frying down really nicely. I'm going to add some garlic now. And I'm going to add some flour to this so that I can make a simple style roux. very simple. Just cook that down with the vegetables. All right, and this is getting ready to make some noise here. And once that starts whistling, I'm gonna let that go for another about 15 minutes maybe. But you'll be able to check. I mean, you'll know, because once it's fork tender, when you do have the chance to check it, then you'll say, okay, well, at this point, let me just transfer it over and just let it go low and slow in the pot with the rest of the stuff. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of flour to start a roux going. Not much about that. All right, come look. So you're just going to stir, stir, stir until that is all combined in the bottom of the pot, not pan. See how we got a little bit of stick in here? That's fine. Just keep stirring. Keep stirring, keep stirring. I am going to also add a package of onion soup mix, just for some additional flavor, that's all. And I will be re-seasoning this as well. 9 out of 10 times I will not use the liquid that's going to yield off. You can use it, you know, it really doesn't matter. But let me turn this down. I guess it all depends on how I feel, whether I'm going to use it or not. I'm going to look at it and see how I feel, how it looks once we get to that. All right, we got some onion soup mix. Just incorporate that. See that brownness down there at the bottom? That's just my flour sticking to the bottom of the pan. Once I throw in my chicken broth, we're going to get that up. So don't worry. All right, so we're going to add our broth so that we can get that up before it gets too dark. And we're just going to stir that around. Just get all that up from the bottom. And slowly add in your chicken broth so that you don't lose control of the consistency and the thickness of your stew. Okay? So all we're doing now is just getting up the flour that was browning at the bottom of the pot. And look how thick it's getting, just that quick. That's all we're doing at this point. So add some more. And you're going to just rub your spoon on the bottom of the pot until you get it all up. Come look. That is all I'm doing. See how it's almost that like a cloudy color? Okay, that's your flour. So I'm gonna just keep rubbing the spoon on the bottom of the pot to get all of that up. And turn the fire down just a little bit. Okay, I just tasted. It is a nice base. I'm going to add my Mrs. Dash just for a little bit of spice. Again, this doesn't have any sodium in it, so you can add her as little bit or as much as you want. And I am also going to add some browning. Look how thick that's getting. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so I decided, before I even looked at my pot, I am going to use that liquid. I'm just going to use it so that we can keep that flavor off of that hog. But just to make this just a tad bit browner, y'all don't get me, I am going to use a little bit of browning. Yes, I could have cooked the flour down a little longer. I could have done that. I could have done it. I know that, but we're going to use the easy way out here today. All right, I used a little bit of browning. Now it looks browner. So we're on a good path here with the browning. I did not put any thyme in here, so let's just hit it up with just a little bit of thyme. And that's about it. Everything else is in that pot. So once that is done, I am going to throw in liquid and all into here and complete this stew. Well, of course, we're going to taste it first and see. Okay, so while we wait, our rice already notified me that it is done. So we're going to let that steam out. And while we're waiting, I'm going to clean up. And when we come back, no, you know what? Yes, let me clean up. Check out the base to the stew. Looks very good. So while we're at this point right here, I'm just going to go ahead and add in the potatoes and let them steam up while we're waiting on that other pot. We all about being just efficient with time and making it do what it do with as quickly as possible. Because if y'all know me, I like to eat and I ain't wasting no time. All right, so we're going to let this go. And I'm going to just drop this in here as well. While we wait, let that steam out. I got my fire on low. I'm going to cover her up. And by the time we come back, that will be ready to go in. Let's see what this got going on in here. That looks good. Okay, now, again, we're going through that sticking part or the sticking stage to where the flour is thickening up and it's sticking to the bottom of the pot. So just rub it around, get it all up, and we will be adding, I can turn this off, and we will be adding our wild sow. A sow is a female hog to our stew base. Again, if you're using any type of pressurized pot in the kitchen, please be extremely, extremely careful. You can hurt yourself in the kitchen. So I'm just going to carefully take this over to the sink. Check it out. I thought I was going to have some liquid, but I really don't have any. These are our celery tops. I'm just going to take those out. Like I said, I'm going to keep that bay leaf. Those leaves on that celery has so much flavor in it. I really like using them. So I'm going to keep that. And I am now going to transfer this into my base. All right, here goes our hog. And all of our seasonings that I added to this before. Now we look like we got a stew. Let me get my spatula. You gotta get all this out of here. Okay. Let's give this a quick stir. Shoot. And we will determine whether we need to add anything else, any salt at this point. Now, if you guys were following along, I did not add any. Y'all always laugh when I say white salt, because there's white salt, pink salt, all these different type of salt, sea salt. No, I just use regular white iodized salt. I didn't use any salt in here. So I need to taste this and make sure that the salt is okay, because I don't like, as my grandma would say, y'all wouldn't understand. It tastes fresh, not literally taste fresh like the vegetables are rotten or whatever. When they say something tastes fresh, means that it just don't have no flavor, no taste. There's nothing to it. Okay, let me see. It's nice, but it needs some accent. We're gonna hit it with some accent just to bring it alive just a little bit. Wake it up. And you know, just because I just taste that a little bit, I was like, you know what, this really needs some type of kick to it. And what more can you use than Tony Chachere's for that just kick? This is my go-to definite kick it up a notch. So we're gonna add a little bit of Tony's on here. I'm not gonna add any more liquid because this is a stew, not a soup. And we just gonna let this go until these potatoes are nice and tender. The potatoes have been in here for a little bit, but they still not together. I did turn my fire down a little bit. We're gonna turn that up. Well, no, we're not gonna turn it up because there's not a lot of liquid in here. Had it been more liquid in here, then it would have been okay to turn the fire up. So right now we just looking for it to go low and slow. If not, you're gonna burn out the bottom of your pot and it's going to be scorched. All right, so we're going to do one more taste test before we cover it up. Different spoon. Oh. It's good, but it's still missing something. I can't think of what it is. It's missing something. I'm gonna figure it out. Let's take this last look because I'm ready to eat. Alright, I got distracted. I was washing dishes. I didn't do anything else to it. Let's take this last taste. It really didn't need anything else. It just needed a minute for those seasonings to marinate in there. I'm ready to eat. So I got my rice. Look at my little rice pullard. Haha. Let's put some of this on this plate. I don't have any greens or salad or anything like that, but that is just fine. This looks very, very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is wild boar. No, boar would be a male. Wild hog stew. This is a female hog, so this would be a sow. Let's cover this back up. And let's go ahead and turn that off because that's done. This is a sow. Sows are much better eating in my opinion because they're not so hormonal. If you get a barred hog, which is a castrated male hog, they taste just as good as the sows. So this is, ow. Ooh. Okay. Ow. All right, so this is a piece right here. It is hot. Y'all see that steam? That is so tender. Wow. That is good. Get some of this gravy in the rice. That is very hot, but it is very good. Take a look. If you have a chance to get any wild boar in your area, if you're in Florida, the farmers around here are desperate to get them off of their land. If y'all, you know, friends with any trappers or whatever, I'm sure they will share with you. But this is amazing. The spice is just right. I did put in a Scotch bonnet. I did not burst it, but this came out excellent. And one more bite before I let you go. Hold on. Yo gang, thank you so much for joining me on my recipe on stew hog. Very, very nice and hearty. I thank you guys so much again for joining me. I thank you guys for your time. And everyone who has made a purchase on www.yokegang.com, I thank you guys for life. And I love you guys forever. I'm sorry, this is where I gotta let you go. Peace.